Hey everyone, welcome to a Tuesday night happy hour. Who doesn't love an excuse to have a cocktail on a Tuesday night? um, so we are super excited that tonight we are celebrating with author Kennedy Mitchell and the release of the More Than a Threat series box set. It's a Bodyguard romantic suspense series. It is currently on sale for 99 pennies, people. 99 pennies. So you can hop over to Amazon and purchase it. If you are in our Discord, I shared it in Discord earlier today so that everybody can grab their own copy. But I'm going to put a link in the chat. So if you haven't gotten it, you should grab it. I mean, come on, 99 pennies, people. Heather, will you read Kennedy's bio for us?
I, of course, will. Kennedy lives in Dallas, Texas with her husband, 8-year-old son, and 2 Goldendoodles. A bookworm at heart, Kennedy loves to snuggle up in bed or by the campfire with an unputable down book. Her novels are stuffed full of humorous banter, the edge of your seat suspense, and enough steam for a great facial. If you like your heroines strong yet vulnerable and sexy tattooed heroes who can't keep their hands off their leading ladies, then this is the author for this is one author for you. Sorry.
Heather, words are hard already.
I know, my gosh.
Kennedy, welcome to Happy Hour.
Thank you. I started a little earlier, so if my teeth are purple and it shows up, I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. I did not start earlier because I've kind of had a Monday of a Tuesday.
Ooh, like, that's the worst.
If I started, we had tacos for dinner. So if I started with Taco Tuesday, we would have been like, it wouldn't have happened. I'd been like, you write books. That's nice. Great.
Like, and scene. Okay.
And done. So for the rules of the night, anybody who is watching can ask questions in the chat. We will do our best to answer them. In the description of the video are the links to all the places to connect with Kennedy. I will also randomly drop them throughout the chat so you can click on those and make sure you're following her wherever we are directing you. So let's kick things off in the traditional bees way. Kennedy, what are you drinking tonight?
Red wine. Yeah. And it's really, it's my favorite bottle of wine. It's Josh Cabernet. It's $10 at any grocery store. And it's really good. And I'm like, yes, all day long.
Lots of people like the Josh label. I know that lots of people like the rosé. There's another romance author that named a character Josh based on the rosé
I love
she
that.
was drinking.
I love that.
I was like, okay.
Amanda you have to find creativity for names somewhere. I mean,
right?
You kind of pull them from everywhere.
Names are hard. I didn't realize that until recently.
I have a running list on my phone. So like if I'm ever watching TV, and one day I was like at a bar and I was watching like professional rodeo and they had all these awesome names. And so I was just writing them all down. I'm sure the people thought I was like nuts. Like sitting beside me, but yeah, you have to be very, last names are the worst. Sometimes I'll just pull up like the credits of a movie and be like, all right, let's just choose number 4. Okay. You know,
that's a good idea though, because that, I mean, you're going to get some diversity within a movie with different, you know, types of roles and stuff.
Yeah. Because not everyone can be named Smith, unfortunately. That would make my life a lot easier.
Wouldn't it, if we all had the same last
Smith,
name?
Jones, Johnson.
Yep.
I feel
yes.
That's my maiden name. So
that's your maiden name. It's not even your married name. I'm like, you're trying to get her to
name.
Your borrowed name. Did you tell your husband that? I'm only borrowing your name?
Nobody can pronounce my stupid last name. And my students, they just gave up and they just call me by Miss B. That's it.
That's fair.
You're like,
that's fair.
That works.
Heather, what are you drinking tonight?
My favorite, Liftbridge black cherry soda. I have to work tomorrow. So.
Day jobs. Okay, so the first link I am going to throw up for everybody is Kennedy on TikTok. I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok.
Dude, you and me both. I feel like once I like start learning one platform, people come up with a whole nother one that I'm having to master. And not only that, I have to be like on film. And so that means like it has to be like a hair wash a day. So yeah, I struggle with it. Like I washed my hair for you guys today. Like it's actually like fixed.
Cute.
Tomorrow it's gonna be like this.
I didn't. I went in the pool today and soaked in red for 3 hours. So you have chlorine hair right now.
You just like chopped your hair off too, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm usually have my hair short, and I tried growing it out, and just because I was lazy, and all it ever does is end up in a ponytail. And my husband was like, dude, like, come on. He loves my hair short because I always fix it and it just fits my personality better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I cut it all off and I feel so much more like me with it short like this for sure.
Super cute.
Yeah, I'm in a bun ponytail thing, but yes, I get a haircut on Friday, and I usually have it like right at chin length. And
yeah,
like, why have long hair if it's going to end up just being pulled back constantly, and then I make myself bald here. So it's age. I mean, this is what your mid-40s look like.
Yeah, mine's like coming. Oh yeah, I turned 41 this year, and I'm starting to see like certain spots in my hair and then certain spots on my body where I'm like, where did that weight come from? Like, oh, that's fun.
The coloring, like from being tan this summer, like the age coloring, I'm like, might be time to go see the dermatologist.
Wear a hat. That's my key.
Yes.
A little late, sister. Okay, so Kennedy, let's get to know you now that we've know about haircuts and Becky's facial problems. So why romance? Why an author of romance? Why write romance?
Yeah. So I grew up reading. Like I grew up in libraries. My mom always took me there. She got me started on my first books like at Boxcar Children and Nancy Drew. And then as I grew up, she got me into Mary Higgins Clark and so many other like amazing authors. And so I've always enjoyed reading, and I've always had a creative side, like kind of randomly coming up with different characters in my head. And I've always thought that I'm like a natural assassin, and I could like take out anyone at any time. So like Covert Vengeance that Heather mentioned earlier, Elliot, I feel like that I want to be her. Like in my heart, that's who I am. It's not who I actually am. I don't think I could do anything. But and so really I kind of just got into it one night. I was sitting in bed, and my husband travels a lot. So he travels 100%. And then my son was about 6 months old at the time. And I was like bored because it was 7:00 and he was already in bed, and I didn't have anything good to read at the time that was like really pulling me in. And so I just decided to start writing. And a couple of my friends thought that I was like crazy at first until they found like I started sending them chapters and chapters and chapters, and they're still my alpha readers now. So they've stuck with me this whole time. But it's been a wild ride, and it's a lot of fun. There's some ups and downs, and it's a struggle, especially now being this far into it and having expectations for myself, for my readers, because I know when I pick up a book, I know what I want. You know what I mean? As far as like quality goes. And so making sure that I'm still delivering that, even though I'm producing so much more, it's definitely a stressor at times.
So I think one of the reasons I adore your book so much is that they're like, mission heavy, maybe is the word, where there's a lot of detail and information about like the case that's happening. And I really love how you pull readers in every single time I read your book. You kind of get in and you're like, what the heck is going on? Who is this? And I just love it because you cannot put it down because you have to figure out what the heck is going on. It's so amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, that's the fun part. I love unraveling. I mean, you can tell by my books, my favorite, TV show, the one I watch on repeat, is Criminal Minds. So I love, any type of crime show documentary too, and all that. I just love that side of things. And as long as the good guys always win and the guy gets the girl, or really the girl gets the really hot guy, It's always a win, and that's what I want to read too.
Um, yes, I love that you kind of do have that true crime feel to your books. Because I am, like you, a huge true crime documentary person, podcast, Criminal Minds. And so it kind of, the way you write your books is you kind of encapsulate our imagination into this book and you can't put it down. You have to be, so is it challenging to make sure that you are writing that every time? Because I feel like, I have not read as many as Heather and Leah have. I think I've only read like 4 or 5. But so far, everything I've read, I feel like it's just you get absorbed into it. That has to be challenging to write that each time.
It is. And I mean, it's definitely a lot of pressure too. But then as I start writing it, like it just kind of happens. And then I'm like, ooh, what if this is this? And then, my new series that's coming out this fall is a little bit, it's not as deep into like the crime side. I would say it's more of a traditional romantic suspense, like it's the danger and the threat and, someone's after them, things like that. So that has been nice writing coming off of the kind of darker and really in-depth, making sure everything actually works and fits together, in some of those like more complex plots. Not that the new series doesn't have that. It's just not as me trying to hide a serial killer in plain sight. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So in the comments, Gretchen asked if the box set is a trilogy. It's one couple through all 3 books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Susie says, there goes my budget. You're welcome, Susie. And Amanda says she read the first 2 in the Protection series and really loved them. And Leah she's been talking about your next series for a couple weeks now, so she is super excited.
I love it. Should we just talk about that cover? Yes. We should.
Which cover? Is the cover for the new series?
By the Marshall?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, with Andrew. Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I had a lot of fun searching through all of the photographer's website, searching for just the perfect guy. And wait until you see the next one for Cherished. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find
got the email with the cover, I was like, when can I like pre-order this paperback? Like, how am I need this in my hands like tomorrow.
So,
Heather, more books you don't have space for that your husband's going to try to get you to donate.
No kidding.
no. Can you see it? That's the new cover that's coming out. Cherished by the agent.
I like those eyes.
Do we know this agent?
That's what drew me in. I was like, he wants to do real dirty things to me.
Yes.
I can just tell.
We know this agent, don't we?
No, this is going to be a new one. So the only crossover that's going to be there in between the Protection series and this new series is in Mind to Save. You remember the cult?
Mm-hmm.
One of the ladies that's going into witness protection is someone that was on the witness stand against the leader of the cult.
Okay.
So she's going into witness protection, and that's where you find the U.S. Marshal. And then it's basically a small town romantic suspense. So it's really, it's different. And I'm taking a lot of creative liberties because I know that there's not a witness protection small town. I understand this, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but you know what? I kind of wanted it just to happen. So I try to make it as realistic as possible. So I have a prequel that's coming out where you'll get to meet all 4 townies of the small town. And I should have that out in the next like 2 weeks. It'll be free, and it's like a short little prequel where you get to meet everybody.
That is so cool. And you know what? It's your town. We just get invited to peek in there, so you can do what you want.
Yeah, exactly. I made up the town in Texas and everything, and so
hold on just a second. They're asking for the link to the Guarded by the Marshal, but
so they can all buy it.
so they can all buy it, pre-order it.
Yeah, and that one's only 99 cents for pre-order. Since it's the first book of a new series, I wanted to kind of get people excited about the new series.
Well, so
Well,
YouTube
we'll
is
be your
telling
hype
me
girls.
YouTube is telling me it's too long of a URL for them, so I'm making a quick tiny URL. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Leah needs to know if Jameson is getting a book.
He is. He is going to be in 23. And I'm actually thinking, sorry, it's getting hot in here. I'm actually thinking I'm going to start kind of like a side series. And this new series be kind of a branch of the protection series, but it'll be all of Ryan's team.
Okay.
So we know Ryan and Charlie, and Ryan went off to Texas to start her own team. And that's how she pulled in Jameson. So I think I'm going to start a brand new profiling team. And then so that way for the first book, we can meet all the profilers and then go off from there.
We're here for it. Whatever you basically, I see your name anywhere and I'm like, I'm just gonna get that because I need that in my life.
These people are a little rabid in the chat over here, and it's mostly being led by Leah.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
So I had never read you. And what happened is I fell in love with Susan Stoker and Riley Edwards. And so came across like a arc or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Leah's like, you have to read her. You have to read this. And I was like, okay, fine. So it was the More Than a Threat series.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I'm here for it. What else does she have?
So
I love it.
Susie's asking, how many books do you write at a time, or do you write quickly? Because you do release books fairly quickly.
Yeah, I can only write one at a time because then I think I lose character. They all start to sound the same if I kind of write them different books. That I know other people can do that and they can fly through writing, but I can't. I'm not that talented. Yeah, I write pretty fast. When my son's in school, I can work basically from the time I drop him off from about 9 to 3, and I can write a protection series novel. I can write in about a month and a half. And then some of my smaller ones I can write in about 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, Susie,
I write really fast, and it doesn't make sense. Like my poor alpha readers, they're trying to figure out what these sentences mean because I'm typing so fast and I'm writing because I'm a pantser, so I have no outline. I just start writing. And so whenever I go back through and do revisions, sometimes that takes almost as long as the writing because I'm just trying to figure out what I was saying. And I have like a whole list of things that I'm like, oh yeah, there's a plot hole. You change eye color halfway through the book. That's a mistake.
So you don't have like a mission board or whatever. So you have no idea how this is going to play out.
I usually have an idea of how the personality I want of the characters and how I want it to end. Mm-hmm. And that's about it.
So you don't really take inspiration from real life cases or things that you have heard. You just make it up.
Sometimes I do, or sometimes it's just more of like, I don't know, like, so in Mind to Keep, right? Mm-hmm. I can't go into too much detail because if anyone hadn't read it, I can't give it away. But so me and my friends have this debate going on about if a man that's married cheats with a woman and the woman knew she was married and knew he was married, who's at fault? So it's this stupid drunk debate we always have, like kind of going back and forth. And so that kind of spawned on Mind to Keep, of all this different stuff. So
yeah.
Like again, I can't say too much because of the whole book, and I don't want to ruin it for people. But
no, we don't want to spoil.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I do take some stuff in life and put it into books, and then other times it's just I randomly came up with it.
My chair moved and I was slowly falling down. Okay, so Gretchen is asking, would it be too much to ask for a suggested reading order for a new reader? So one of the things that we've started asking authors is, especially who has a large backlist, what is the best book for them to start with to get a feel of how you write now? Or if you have
Yeah.
a favorite series, telling someone, hey, go to the beginning, and you have 100 books, that can be
Right.
really overwhelming. And you probably don't write the same from book 1
No.
to book 62.
No, absolutely not. I actually recently, within the past year, took off the first book I ever wrote. I took it off because it just wasn't me anymore. It was a really fluffy contemporary romance. And it was my first book. It was pretty bad. So I took it off because I didn't want people to, read that book and think that's who I am now.
Right.
So I would say if you're really into military romance, then my SEALs and CIA series, or if you're really into like true crime, Criminal Minds, that type of thing, definitely start with Mind to Protect in the Protection series. The SEALs and CIA series, I loved writing those because the heroines are so badass and they can kick anyone's butt, and I really want to be that so bad.
So your Seals and Protection series has 2 books in it, and then the Protection series has
6.
5. Oh, 6.
6. Yeah.
Okay.
Mind to Love just released
Yeah.
in June.
June.
So yeah, it has 6 now.
Well, and
And
I
then,
started in the Powerplay series, which is your political intrigue.
Yeah.
And that was very good. I highly recommend that series too. So
Yeah.
Leah, I love
so
the CIA.
if you really like the like a connected couple, that one is definitely, it still has, I wouldn't really call it a deep suspense, but it has like that every book has a different plot with an overall arc of the same plot. So yeah, that one was fun.
If you love your SEALs and CIA, Leah especially is wondering if we're going to get more out of that series or.
Yes. Yeah. So I plan on writing McLovin's story next year. And so, yeah, I already have an idea of how I want him to meet his girl.
Awesome.
And who she is.
Well, we're here for it.
No, I'm like, oh yeah. Like, I just wish there was more time in the day so that I could, especially during the summer. Because,
right.
Yeah, I wish I could write them all like right now.
Well, you get 18 summers, so you got to enjoy them, right?
Yes, exactly. And one of the reasons why I quit my full-time job was because I wanted to spend more time with him. Because like I said, my husband travels 100%. So when it's just me and him Monday through Friday most of the time. And so it got really hard traveling for work for me and getting him to and from school and all that. So I guess about 3.5 years ago, I left full-time and now full-time mom, part-time, full-time author.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure if you're putting
full-time.
out like 3 or more books a year, full-time author, because it's a full-time gig.
Yes. First thing I do in the morning is wake up and start checking social media, and then definitely 4 to 5 hours of writing, and then it feels like the rest of the other time is social media too. So
yeah, that social media is a time suck, but I'm like you. I get up in the morning and I scroll through and check and see where things are going.
Yeah.
What's the latest TikTok controversy? Who
Dude,
do I
can't
need
keep
to
up
talk
with all
about?
that. I need bullet points sometimes. Like I'll email my admin. I'll be like, "What is going on?" She'll be like, "Da-da-da-da." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. There are times I have to walk away. I have to walk away and be like, okay, this place is bonkers. Because now, I love your covers. Your covers are beautiful. They are not ab covers. A lot of couples, a lot of men in suits. I'm not a fan of discreet covers. I want to see the abs. I want to see the men in a nice suit. And every time I get over on the other social media platform and people are going on and on about covers and being mean, I want to be violent and I can't.
Well, I guess I get it if all you do is read paperbacks, but I'm on my Kindle. I'm actually more on my phone on the Kindle app more than I am anything else.
Mhm.
I've actually had to like start doing like massages for my hand because I've been holding my phone. You know, the pop socket sits right here.
I
Yeah.
have an out of wonky pinky, and it's like scroller pinky or tech pinky or something. There's a name for it. Like, it
That
doesn't
doesn't surprise me because like I
line
have to
up
like
anymore.
start like massaging and I got like one of those like little massage balls. It looks like a stress ball. It looks like I'm stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it helps. But yeah, I've actually switched to reading on my Kindle more than my phone just to kind of help.
Yeah.
I have a
I
backup Kindle just in case my Kindle like
Same.
runs out of battery. So I feel
Same.
Yeah.
So do
Do
you
you have
have
one of those book beans? The
I
from
do.
Bookbo? I have one too, and it really saves my hands because I'll lay in bed and read.
I also have one
Okay.
of these, and I got the
Ooh.
remote clicker so it can sit on my nightstand. I can click it on
It's
it.
but if you're holding it, like it puts stress on your arms and your
Yes.
hands. But that's how I love the book bean. And so I just lay it right there and I just go tap,
Mhm.
next page, tap, tap.
Um,
I'm a huge audiobook listener, so I had to go
Yeah.
check out and see how many audiobooks. So right now, the Protection series, you have 4 available in Audible.
Yes.
And
the next two, Mind to Hold and Mind to Love, are in production right now.
perfect. Awesome.
And those are going to be coming probably later this month. I'll probably get them up to pre-order later this month.
I mention this because there's a whole bunch of us in the group that are huge audiobook listeners. So I wanted to double check, but they're, like I said, they're in Audible. And I did some previews and you have some really awesome narrators.
well,
Yes.
it makes sense that a podcast community would have a lot of audiobook narrator or listeners, you know? Kind of fits.
Yeah. So Teddy's going to do both of those again. And then Mind to Hold is Teddy and Rose. Diaro, is that how you say it? And then Mind to Love is Teddy and Neva Navera.
Neva Navera.
It's another a pen name or whatever for someone else. So that reads more because Mind to Love, I mean, with the MFM in it, it gets a little steamy. And I think some people just don't want maybe more their like softer romance tied to their steamy side.
Yeah. I think like Erin Mallon does that. She has a name that she reads under for her contemporary or women's fiction books, and then uses. And I know Joe Arden does that. We had them on an episode back in the beginning, and actually we have an episode coming up. Teddy's going to be one of our guests on.
Oh, yay.
And we're going to talk to them. We're also talking to one of Andy Arnett's producers that won the Audie for Real.
Yeah.
Because we're so intrigued by audiobooks, and it's such an investment for authors. And I don't always think that listeners, readers understand exactly what goes in when they say, you know, because someone freaked out. They're like $500 per finished hour. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
You can read out loud a 800-page book and never stumble over a word, you know.
Yeah. And the production, everything that goes into it, it's a lot. And it's definitely a talent. And that's where, you know, I guess it's last year when AI started to kind of creep in and everyone started to kind of getting mad about it. And I agreed with them. You're acting like that what they do isn't a talent. And because not everyone can do it. Same with like the stuff that was going on TikTok when they were trying to get models to read or whatever. And I'm like, that's real crappy. Like you're thinking just because you're pretty, you can speak well and
just because
have a great voice and like Maxine Mitchell, like good gracious, that woman is meant for audio, especially being able to, you know, her male voice. And like there's so many people that you're just like, they're just astounding. I mean, there's no other words for it.
Well, and if you listen to audiobooks from the early 90s, like I recently listened to, we did an episode a while ago when Bridgerton season 2 was coming out of The Viscount Who Loved Me. Like we did a review episode on that book.
Yeah.
And I listened to the old audiobook of that book. It's read by one female voice.
Mm-hmm.
There is no tone, there's no inflection, there's no banter. Like it like honestly, it sounds like, you know, my Alexa or my Siri read it
Yeah.
to me. Like they're just versus when you get a book that's done by one of these these audio actors,
Yeah.
you know, there is a power to the way that they tell the story, and it encapsulates you into the world, and it's an experience.
Absolutely.
And
It's an art, and they can make or break the book. I mean, there's a lot
Yes.
of books where I think I'd be like, I could probably give it or take, and then you listen in audio and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
agree. So Kenny, do you have a favorite type of hero?
Yeah, tattoos for one. And I'm not just saying that because I have them. My husband has them too. And I like them like rough around the edges, but with a sweetheart. So like I'm not one to like, you know, like this, I'm not a really sweet person. Like someone that's like a duty person, like, oh,
Yeah.
are you okay?
Yeah, like a Pollyanna.
Yeah, like no. Like my husband, like whenever I was sick last week, he was like, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. That's all I need. Like, right.
Yeah.
I don't need you to like come like
Touch
so
me.
that's the kind of heroes that I did y'all understand that? Did y'all
We
like the
do.
petting?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
So
our
that's
people.
so that's the kind of hero that I want to read about. Someone that's like manly and will protect you and will put you in your place when you need to be, but also let you be who you are.
Yeah, that help you shine. They're not trying to hide your light.
Yeah. And like, and I think that stems from me and my husband's relationship is that I'm quirky as hell and a little crazy a lot of the times. And he just lets me be me. And whenever I need to be like put in my place, it happens, you know? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I took that one too far. Okay.
We call that the voice of reason in this house. Like I am completely unhinged 99% of the time. And you know, that 1% my husband will be like, let's think this through. And I'm like, oh, it's the voice of reason.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll behave. Because
But I
left
also, like, I've gotten
unsupervised.
really into and this is nothing like my husband, the mafia men, like the touch her and die. Yeah, all day long. Now I don't want to be married to that because I would be suffocating and I would probably kill them. But
Yeah.
I love reading that in a book. The touch her and die hero is a really big trope for me right now.
The growly hero. I read Jacinda Wilder's new one. Like as soon as I read it, I messaged Leah and I'm like, touch her and you die. And she's like, what's the title again?
It's true.
Yeah.
There's something about it.
I like that. The uber intense alpha. Yes, Leah, the uber intense alpha. Earlier in the link, you guys are blowing up the chat. Earlier in the link, I shared Kennedy's newsletter. If you have not subscribed to her newsletter, make sure you guys do so that you can be in the know of all the things coming up and find out when books are on sale and things are happening. Oh, Susie, I'm reading Rev and it's great. It is great, Susie. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay. So we are here to celebrate. I mean, we're talking about everything.
I know. I love it. The best happy hour ever.
Well, thank you. You should probably join us for Drunk Book Club, which is us uncensored because we're not recorded.
Yeah.
You're on.
Send me that
we
link.
need you.
We will.
Yeah.
Legit. Everyone's like, your book club is called Drunk Book Club. I'm like, you don't have to drink. We are drunk on other things.
Yes.
But it is
So
we are unrecorded and unrestricted. So it's, you know, we are pretty uncensored all the time. Susie wants to know if you have a favorite author.
Oh goodness. So Sarah J. Maas. Do y'all read any paranormal or fantasy or anything like that? No.
Yes. Shifter romances.
Oh yeah,
dude, Shifter. Yeah.
Anyway.
Shifter for sure. But so Sarah J. Maas is more of a fantasy romance author. And she has this one series that really, so it's kind of how I started, like really realizing that I could kind of do like a writing thing was I read her books and then I started doing like a small little blog, and I realized how much I enjoyed writing, the review and all that kind of stuff. So she's definitely one of my favorites. And then Sandra Brown is always a go-to for me.
She has some
For sure.
amazing books and they hold up. Like reading some of her older backlists, they still hold up. So
yeah, I met her at an event here in Dallas and she was really fantastic. So
that's awesome.
Like just the nicest person ever. And you're like, wow, hi.
It's so awesome when an author that you are like in love with or that you like really enjoy their stories turns out to be like a good person too. It kind of adds to the value of their stories because you're like, oh, they're a good person. And I will tell you that like a nice author, I will read every one of their books no matter what, versus an author that's kind of shitty.
Dude. So one of my first book signings I went to as a reader, I had one of those experiences. I was so excited to meet this author and it just did not go as I had planned it in my mind. And I kind of stopped reading after that, and it wasn't anything with her writing or anything like that. I saw how it went down and it just wasn't for me. So, but other people, you're right. I met at new authors at their tables and I was like, I need to read all of you because you're awesome.
Yeah.
Because they're like, if I can have as good of conversation and, with them and joking around and their humor is the same as mine, I'm like, okay, then I'm going to like your books. Right.
Yeah.
So.
So we are here to celebrate More Than a Threat, the box set. Again, everybody, I shared the link in the chat. It is 99 cents over on the Amazon. So it is More Than a Threat, More Than a Risk, and More Than a Hope. It is a trilogy, so it's the same couple through all 3 books. It takes them 3 books to get their HEA. Give us a little bit about who these characters are. Do not spoil the books because I want everyone to go buy it and read it. So
yeah,
tell us a little bit. Who are these characters?
I'll kind of give you a little intro into the book, into the series. So hold on, my dog is like whining his ass off. Hold on.
It's okay. It's killing Leah that she's at home and not on this, just so we're all clear. Leah's like,
stop whining.
All the questions.
You want to say hi? Here.
We love a puppy.
Yeah. Here. It's my Goldendoodle.
Hi, sweet boy. Hi.
He's just a puppy. Okay, so More Than a Threat box set. All right, so the heroine is Dr. Kate. So she's an ER doctor here in Dallas, and her dad is the Dallas DA. So he tries to know an attorney, so he goes up against a lot of bad people, all that kind of thing. So she comes home from work one day. She has a death threat on her doorstep, and her father's really overprotective, and he gets her a bodyguard because it's a local gang that is threatening her, and he knows that they'll follow up on it. So, and that's where you meet Casey Weston. He is a bodyguard that's hired. He is a former Army Ranger and he's like kind of a silent, broody type, where it's just, you don't know what he's thinking. And so this is where I struggle as a reader. Like, I love dual point of view, but at the same time, I love single point of view because I'm always wondering what the guy's thinking, especially when it's a silent hero, when you're like, does he like her or not? Just like, you can't really tell by some of the wording and stuff like that. So as a reader, I struggle with that. So with that said, this series is single point of view. And it is written in first person. So as the book goes on, it's definitely an enemies to lovers because they are not fans of each other. He thinks she's a spoiled rich princess. She thinks that she doesn't need, a bodyguard with her all the time. He's there. It's also forced proximity because he's living with her at the time. And then, things happen. At the end of book 1, it does end in a cliffhanger, but with the box set, you get to immediately roll into book 2.
Right. So. No waiting, friends. No waiting.
No waiting. So it was the second, More Than a Threat was the second book that I wrote. And one of my alpha readers, Weston, is still her favorite hero that I've written, because he's definitely that hard exterior, and comes from a rough background, doesn't think that he deserves Kate, and he just kind of warms up to her, and they realize that they were totally wrong about each other, and I love that about them, and the way they come together is very natural, because it does take a long time for that to kind of happen, and it's a friendship that goes, it's enemies to lovers, and then they kind of form like a little friendship, and then they're like, hey, let's have sex.
Well,
Yeah, Leah says
it
she
is
was
romance.
frustrated.
Come on.
Yep.
right.
She said she was
we need that.
frustrated. She's wondering if you'll ever write like a little snippet from like Weston's point, or Casey's point of view.
Yes. So I have that, and I have about half of it done. And so in book 2, where he gives her the passcode to emails. Anyway, so in his point of view, in his book, I have the emails. All the emails that he wrote for his daily therapy. And starting from the time that he first meets her. So you get how he feels about her at the very beginning, how it transitions in the middle, and then at the end.
Nice.
Leah's
Yeah.
like, yes.
So
Oh,
awesome. I had to
So I
wrap
have
my
half
head.
of it written.
It's been a while since I've read this series, so I had to kind of circle
No,
back.
it's
to it
all
in my
right.
head. So awesome.
Whenever I knew I was going to be talking about it this week, I was like, I need to reread this, because I forgot it. It's like, what's her last name again? Hold on.
Leah, when are we getting that? Leah, it's only half written. It's going to be a minute, sister. Relax.
She's gonna stalk you down in Texas for sure.
Listen, if I cannot control Leah, if she shows up on your doorstep, I'm sorry.
Hey, it's all right. I love it.
Just give her a mug of coffee, and she's pretty complacent. But she likes to drink all things out of a mug. So, like, I don't stalk her already. Leah does. So earlier in the chat, I did share Kennedy's Instagram. And you should absolutely check it out. That's another great way to keep track of her. And Leah will tell you she answers her Instagram.
I do.
Because Leah will, she's like, I've messaged her when we were setting things up. She's like, do I need to message her? I'm like, no, Shauna and I are on it. It's fine. And she's like, I can message her. I'm like, we're okay.
Are you kidding me? I love it. And sometimes whenever I get emails from my website, it's people like saying like, hey, I read this book and I loved it, and it truly makes my day. It's the highlight.
I think
knowing that for like a
messaged
little
you
bit
too.
of time, you gave someone an escape from everything that's going on in our world.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there's a lot going on, and if you can provide and write a story, that's how I feel about our community with the book community. We hear a lot of times, I don't know any romance readers in real life, so we've created this community that you can tell us all the kinky, weird things you're reading, or
yes.
If you prefer something, share those book recs. We want to build your TBR. We want to build our TBR.
Yeah.
And it helps create an escape, and good stories make for, a great escape for sure.
Yeah. I think that's the reason why I, for a while, like, especially during like quarantine and stuff like that, I got pulled into PNR, because it's completely, oh my gosh, stop. It's completely like nothing is real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you kind of just get that whole different world.
Do you think you'll ever write PNR?
So whenever I have too much wine, I do start on a book. Yeah. And it's actually a PNR reverse harem. So it has witches, vampires, shifters, and elementals. So that's about 5 chapters in. And again, only whenever I've had enough to drink that I'm like, ooh, this is a good use of my time right now.
So what she's saying is if anybody wants this PNR book, just send wine.
Yes. You know my favorite now.
We know her favorite, the Josh Cab.
Yeah.
Susie, write it. Susie loves the PNR. She's, um, this is a great use of your time. Wine and PNR. You're right, Leah. That is a
Yeah.
good use of everybody's time.
It is.
Okay, Kennedy, what is next for you? So the box set is out now. What book comes out next for us?
Guarded by the Marshal, and that's out September 19th.
And I shared the link for that one earlier, and it's pre-sale for 99 cents. So, and that's kicking off a new series?
Yes. And so far, there's going to be 4 books in that series, and it is a small town. So you'll get to kind of meet everyone in the townies, if you will, and have a glimpse of their meet cute to the significant other. That's coming.
Okay. Anybody in the chat have any other questions for Kennedy?
I think one of the things that came up earlier is your books are in Kindle Unlimited. The Mine to Love is not that. The Bodyguard series isn't.
No,
is it?
that one is not. So the More Than a Threat series is not,
Yep.
and neither is Steals and CIA or Powerplay, the Powerplay series. The Protection series does really well in Kindle Unlimited.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm a Kindle Unlimited reader, you know, I read a lot on there. And so that one will stay in KU for as long as it's people still want it.
Mhm.
But you move things out pretty frequently, though, right? Do you move books in and
Yeah,
around?
I mean, I think it's kind of depends on where the Amazon is, you know, how well
Fair.
they're treating everyone at the time.
Mhm.
Nope, that's 100% fair. But like the
Yeah.
Powerplay box set, that's 5 books and it's $10. So, guys,
Yeah.
that's
You
like
must-
2 iced coffees.
You
Just buy the
also
box
put
set.
your books like on sale too, like
Yes. Yeah.
so.
I do that quite a bit, especially, you know, I'll do like book club sales or anything like that. So it's a great way to, you know, kind of introduce myself to new readers, and because I'll see a lot of sales of authors I've never heard of, and I'm like, it's 99 cents, I'll give them a try, you know.
Yeah.
If it's not in KU, then I'm like, definitely.
Well, and Jennifer
yeah.
is saying that you have a good selection in her library. So if the book isn't in Kindle Unlimited, make sure you guys check your
Yes.
librarities because it might be available in
It should be in
Hoopla or
Overdrive, yeah.
in Libby. Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us for Happy Hour, for coming on
Thank
and
you for
having a
having
glass
me.
of
It was
wine
a
with
lot
us.
of fun.
We enjoyed having you, and we hope that we can make some time for you to come join us for Drunk Book Club, because I think that
Definitely send me that link. I need to know when that is.
all these people would be happy to have you along. Everybody, if you are participating in Summer Reading Challenge, you can go over to our website and enter this as an entry. On the entry form, you participated in a live event. And then we'll be back next Thursday with Smarty Pants Romance. We will be announcing their fall lineup next Thursday. So make sure you check out the website for those events. Once again, Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank y'all so
Kennedy.
much.
Until next time, everyone, happy reading.